What's up everybody, how's it going out there? In this video, we'll be talking about how you go about, well, I don't know if I need to restore this or not, but this is an Asteroids Deluxe, and this has not been turned on since the mid-80s. This is another one that I got back from Arizona to add to my collection, and as you can tell, this thing is like really dirty. So, what I do to start off, because a lot of times with these older games, you don't know, like, let me back up a little bit so you can see a little bit better what's going on. With these older games, they might have been in a shed for a long time, like this one right here. And this one is just absolutely covered in crap. So the first thing I have to do is I have to clean it before I can get inside there to see what's cooking, to see if there's any, I mean, if it works or anything like that. And this is absolutely disgusting. This has been out in a shed since like '85, I think. So, how do you get all this stuff off? Well, I've got a container down here full of water and OxiClean. And all I'm going to do is, starting with the sides, is I'm going to come through here and I'm going to try to get all of the dust and grime off as much as I can here. And then afterwards, I'll rinse it inside the OxiClean bucket. Well, it's actually not a bucket, but container. And after it's been rinsed, I'll keep going and I'll do the other side. Man, there is a lot of dust and dirt on this thing. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll use this on the actual control panel and monitor and all that other stuff, because that's where the vast majority of the dirt is. And then after this has been cleaned one time, then I'll go through with the actual cleanser and a rag to get everything really clean. And I use OxiClean because it has a tendency to take stains off that a lot of these other things can't really clean up very well, like Lysol and stuff. I have some Clorox cleaner over there, but this is going to take a long time. So I went ahead and I opened the door here, and I'm going to end up getting my air compressor a little bit later and blowing this thing out and getting all the dust out, and I'll do that outside, because if not, I'm going to... What you barking at? You need to get outside? But after I've opened this, and I'm sure I'll find more stuff, I took the money container out of here. And there's tokens inside of this place. And this token says no cash value, and it is from... What does that say? I can't even tell. Let me get these guys out of here. I'll clean them. But there's a weird residue inside here. I don't know what the fuck it is. And it's a color that I don't like seeing. It looks white. It makes me wonder if it's boric acid or something worse. This says freedom, no cash value, freedom, freedom. These all say like the same thing. I don't know what that is. It's from some arcade apparently, but I'm not sure. I gotta see what my dog needs. What you need, doggy? Okay, so I rinsed that bucket out because it had some residue. It looked like boric acid or something in it. But what I have to do is I have to, up here, I gotta tilt this guy down. There's usually a couple latches inside here. If you reach up and over, they're not latches, they're screws with wing nuts. So you just sit there and undo these guys. Okay, undo this guy, and then do the same thing on this side. And then by doing this, I should also have access to the piece of plexiglass for the screen. Alright, this thing's wanting to slide. They usually have a hinge or something. And with this thing looking like it wants to slide, makes me think that that hinge is broken, or the way they did this is different. But won't know until I get this and move it. So we'll grab this guy and bring it over like that. Let me go ahead and move the camera again so you can see what I see. Okay, so now that this is removed, there's generally like a little harness down in here, right here, that you can pull these guys apart. This guy seems to have a lock somewhere. And, ooh, man, that thing is on there good. Okay, so we got that guy off, and then the only thing I have left is this ground. So I have to get a wrench, remove that ground, and there is a hinge right here, and the weld broke off. How do you like them apples? So I'm going to have to fix that. But let me get a wrench and remove that ground so I can I can take this control panel off. And after I take the control panel off, I can clean that along with the plastic cover here. Down here on the bottom is where the screen is. Let me move this up. So we have a piece of plastic back here that is basically a mirror. Down here there is the screen and a piece of plastic, okay, which is right here. And then this is what gives the screen its color on the old Vector screens. And this is put in with a piece of cardboard. And this piece of cardboard has stars and everything. There's probably a neon light somewhere in this area too, not a neon light, but a fluorescent light to make this all look like it's glowing. So I have to gently remove all this. So I have to go get my tools, gently remove all these things, pull it out so I can clean this. And then afterwards, after I take a good look inside there, make sure everything is set up the way it's supposed to, I'm going to turn this guy on and see if I can get some kind of image on there. So after I get these staples started, I'll use a needle nose to pull them out. There's probably no, that's it. That's it. And you can see this one has got a blue screen because this is Asteroids Deluxe, and I have to clean this guy. Let me put that over here. This screen is going to be dirty, and this mirror back here is going to be dirty, but this mirror gets taken out from the rear. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn this guy on. There's a switch over here you just pull out, and there's a switch down here. And I'm getting a red light. Let me move this so you can see what I'm seeing here. I'm getting a red light, and I don't hear anything. I don't see the monitor light up. Something's not right. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this connection right here and verify that it's not dirty and it's getting all the connections that it needs. So this should be able to just slip on out. Okay, and when I slip this out, I want to look at everything. I want to see if I can see any corrosion on any of these ICs. I want to see if any of them are sticking out. Actually, I don't see any corrosion on any of them. I don't see any rust. I don't see anything like that. Capacitors do not look leaky. So what I'm going to do, flip it over, and I want to see if there's anything that's wrong back here. And I'm not seeing anything. And I mean, granted, I'm only glancing at it, but this looks like it's pretty damn solid. Sometimes you end up getting what's known as a cold solder joint. And a cold solder joint could prevent this from booting up. But you want to go with the basics before you go with before you start getting too involved. So I'm going to assume that this has just got a little corrosion and bad connections. I'm going to take a pencil eraser, and I'm just going to clean this guy up and then try it again. Sometimes this is all it takes, because you can see that there's been oxidation on that. Flip it over because it's actually on both sides, it's not just on one. Slide this guy back in. Grab this guy, look inside here, make sure everything's good. Put that back on where it belongs. Right there. Then give this a shot again, see what happens. Okay, I'm not seeing any neck glow. I'm not seeing any neck glow. I also don't even see the spot killer on. Let me see. Let me see what I got up here on front. Okay, so we got something interesting going on here. I've got everything on. I'm not getting any neck glow. And the spot killer is also not on. Yet just a minute ago it was. Okay, so I'm going to be having to check a few things. I have to check the signal. I have to check some of those pins and make sure everything is the way that it's supposed to be. Let me go ahead and turn this off. I didn't see any of the fuses blow. See, spot killer just shot on when I did that. Spot killer turned on for a second, and now it's off. I don't see any neck glow. Turn it off, spot killer comes on. So there's power going to the board. Okay, power is going to the board. There could be a loose connection, or there could be something that's going wrong as far as the wires that's going to the back of the tube itself, right? So I'm gonna have to go ahead and troubleshoot that and see if I can find out what the hell's going on there. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and change out those bulbs, get everything on the front put back together. So the only thing I have to worry about afterwards is just this, figuring out what's going on with the monitor. Okay, so this is the front. I've replaced that bulb, and then back here is where the fluorescent goes. Okay, and like normal, you make sure that the power's off, and you would end up getting these guys, just kind of opening them up and sliding it in. So the black light is turning on right here. So the black light works, but it sounds like it probably wouldn't hurt to replace these starters. Take this guy out, look at the numbers, 15 watts, 20 watts, FS2, and then this is going to be what I need to replace it with. So let's go ahead and remove these guys so we can clean them out, okay? So basically what we're going to end up doing is, well, you know something? Yeah, I'm going to have to remove these. It looks like somebody had put some plastic pieces or something in here in order to try to correct the switches, but there's ways you can do it without having to do that. And they also look really dirty, so I'll end up cleaning those guys. I can keep this guy to the side. There's no reason to pull anything else off. We'll call that good. These guys come off with just a little bit of screwing. I mean, I might have to, there we go. And this guy right here, I want to clean all that stuff off. So I'm going to take off this this ring, this snap ring, and just like that. And then now these two guys will come apart, and then I can clean both of those. I'm going to do that with all of them. So now it's time to clean these points, and I have some 1000 grit. I'm just going to stick between these guys and drag it a few times. And then that ends up cleaning these points off. The buttons, I went ahead and I've already taken apart and I've cleaned. And so they're good. but I want to clean these points off before I put these guys back together again. Okay, so now that everything has been cleaned up and everything, the board has been, the control panel has been fixed down below. I went ahead and installed a couple new lights for the coin returns. When I was turning this on, these lights would turn on and nothing really else. It looked like it was playing blind, but the problem is I couldn't hear anything. And so the first thing I started thinking of is, let's check the speaker. Okay, so speaker is behind this guy. So you take the marquee out. This has to be replaced, so I'm going to replace this. And there's also a fluorescent black light behind this one that illuminates back here, because the mirror on the rear of there is like a two-way mirror, kind of, in a sense. It's semi-transparent, and there's neon stuff that's been painted black on the rear of it, and it lights it up and tries to give a 3D effect. And you'll see that I had cleaned up the blue cellophane that goes on top of the monitor. The monitor's out right now, but when I took this out, when I slipped this out, okay, what I ended up seeing was, look at the speaker. It was missing. And I found that there was a speaker that had been replaced inside there. And it was just this little like 4-inch speaker, but it was, the wires were just twisted on. As soon as I twisted it on, I got sound, but I still did not have any picture. So I went ahead and I tested the voltages on the main power supply, as well as this is an audio and board power supply right here, a regulator, and tested all of it. Everything tested out fine. You can actually find tons of information on the web about what pins to test and what voltages you should get. With Asteroids Deluxe, the voltages for the high side over here where the AC current is a little different than a standard Atari brick, right? So some people say, oh, you should be getting like 80 volts and stuff. You got to be careful of that stuff, because on the upper part here where it's the DC and stuff, yeah, those are pretty much always the same, but back here it's going to be a little different, and you should check your schematics actually just to verify. So as far as the monitor goes, I turned on the monitor. It's gone right now. I have it over on my pool table because I have to fix it, but I released it, and you release it from a couple of bolts right here and here, just slides out. The whole unit just slides out. And there was no spot killer. Spot killer is like, it's an LED kind of like this, and it tells you when the monitor is being purposely kind of turned off, right, to prevent any type of burning from on the phosphor on the front of the tube. Generally, there's a lot of things that can cause it, but usually that means that there's something wrong with the signal that's going to it. Well, this is the problem. My monitor didn't have any net glow. It didn't have the God damn it! My dog just took a shit under my pool table. God damn it! Let me turn this off and clean it up. Good Lord, that's disgusting. It still stinks in here, right? And this is our new dog. We've only had her for like 3 days, and it was a rescue dog. And she's about 13 weeks old, and she just loves shitting underneath my pool table. It's driving me crazy. But anyway, God damn, I can still smell it. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, where was I? I wasn't getting any net glow. The spot killer light was not on. There wasn't even really anything. It seemed like the voltages weren't quite right either. It's like something was going on. So I took the monitor out, and I wanted to look for cold solder joints. I wanted to look for all sorts of different things that could possibly be wrong. So when I took the board out, I was testing the fuses and everything, looking for anything that could potentially be wrong, you know, bad capacitors, blown resistors, burn marks anywhere, just anything that was obvious to sight. Didn't really see anything, but I started testing the fuses, and then when I got into these two guys, I couldn't get any continuity. And the fuses themselves, visually, if you were to look at these guys, just looking at them, you would swear that they're okay. But the reality is they're not. This is why when it comes to fuses, you can't go by the way they look. You actually have to test them. You have to test for continuity. There was no continuity. So I ended up getting a couple of fuses that I'm going to end up installing here. And it's important, it's important to get the right kind of fuses. Most people will just sit there and say, oh look, 5 amp, 250 volts, and they ignore what's going on up here, okay? And these amps, oh, I'm sorry, these fuses, it says it, not there. It says that it's a slow blow. In other words, that it is 5 amps and 250 volts, but it takes a little bit while longer for these things to actually blow, right? And usually that's because whoever manufactured this understands that there's the possibility of voltage amperage shooting through this and kind of having spikes. And it doesn't want to blow if there's a small spike. It wants to kind of wait for a second and let it build up, and if it looks like, you know, something's going to go bad, then from there blow. But if you just put a 5 amp 250 volt, chances are they're going to blow. Okay, so make sure you get the slow blow if it says that on the fuses. So I was following these guys and I was saying, well, like, what would cause both of these guys to go bad? And I started thinking it's possibly there's a diode that's bad. So I tested this diode, it was fine. I thought, the rectifier, that's probably what it was. I tested the rectifier was fine. I was looking really close at the back of this, and I found a couple of cold solder joints. So I wanted to show you what a cold solder joint looks like. And if you look at these guys right here, there's one right there. And it has a slight crack, and it needs to be resoldered. And this is coming off of the PCB board, or the PCB, if you will, of the monitor, which I'm not getting any power to, and it's blown 2 fuses. So I'm going to take out a full wave rectifier, and I'm also going to check out another diode, because I suspect if there's anything that's blowing the fuses, it could be that. But it could also simply be something like a trace like this that's intermittent that ends up creating heat. When you have cold solder joints where it breaks, and if it gives you intermittent connection, it can start creating heat and spikes and stuff, and then that can cause a fuse to blow. But interestingly enough, after I fixed those and I was looking at this, I actually found it was a stray piece of lead wire that came from something that was going between point A to point B, and it was causing a short. And I was like, whoa, no wonder now that definitely would blow a fuse. So I haven't tested after I removed all that and I did the cold solder joints again, like resoldering them. Now it is time for me to replace these fuses, plug this guy back in, not to the monitor. I'm not going to hook the board up, to the monitor itself, not to the tube itself. I'm just going to hook it up here and see if I can get a light, to see if I can get any of these other lamps glowing. I want to see if there's anything. I want to see if these guys pop again, right? And then if we're getting voltage, everything's looking good, and then from there I'm going to put this back inside the case here. And then the next thing I'll be looking for is a net glow right here. This does pop off. Before you start working on monitors, make sure you know what the hell you're doing, by the way. These things can be really fucking dangerous, okay? Know what you're doing. I did a video in the past about monitors and stuff, but what I'm doing in this video here is just kind of going over what I'm doing in order to kind of get this Asteroids Deluxe to work again, some of the things that I have found. right? This is not an end-all be-all how to repair video games, but this will give you tips and hints on certain things. After I replace these fuses, and then I hook the pins back up to the thing, I'm going to turn the video game on, and I'm going to see if I can get some lights. Also, under the marquee, I'm going to change out those bulbs. And you can just use basic bulbs you get from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, as long as they're the right size, right? Because they're just fluorescent lamps, not a big deal. Sometimes those lamps, though, there is a ballast resistor in there. Sometimes a transformer. Those things sometimes go bad, and the bulbs themselves are okay. So make sure you test for voltage. So anyway, let's go ahead and pop these guys in, plug it in, and see what we can get. Pooch, hey, this is not your show. This is not your show. This is the Will's Easy Guitar Show, not your show. Why you keep getting in the camera? All right. So what we're going to do is we got this guy turned on, and don't, oh my God, dog, you're driving me nuts. If you lick this board, you're going to end up regretting it. So let's go ahead and turn this on and see if we can get some type of light, okay? So let's go ahead and pull this. There we go. The spot killer light is on, and that's a good sign. We're getting voltage. I'm not seeing those fuses below, and so I'm going to put this guy back into the case and see if the monitor turns on. Now, when I turn this off, you're going to see it's off. The spot killer stays on because of the capacitors. See, so capacitors do hold on to voltage for quite a while. Bigger it is, longer it holds on to it. So just keep that stuff in mind, guys. You can get popped. So I double checked everything, reflowed the solder joints, replaced 2 capacitors. I got net glow. I've got a screen now. So now I can go ahead and put this guy back in and give it a test run. So we got this guy here, and it sets on these 2 ledges right here. And then after you got them up there, you just slide this dude up. Just like that. And then, now that this is in place, you end up grabbing your screws and, or bolts for that matter, whatever you want to call them. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay, since this is a game that you're going to be hitting the fire button quite a bit, you want to try to make this stuff as easy as possible. What the hell's the word I'm looking for? Not easy, it's efficient as possible. And then the shield button is being intermittent. It's not really doing what it needs to do. It's not behaving itself. So let's take a look at this, and I'll show you how you go about kind of making sure all this stuff works really well. You want this to these points to be closer. It's almost like adjusting a rotor and a distributor back in the day. And then if you grab a pair of needle nose, you can come in here, give it a little bit of a turn, and that twist will help put a little bit more spring. See, I want this to react about just barely having to touch it. So I might end up putting a piece of paper. It's better to remove these screws and then get these points to where you want them before you install it, because if it has something that this is hitting against, being the switch, sometimes it doesn't work real well. Once again, I need to make sure that these points are clean. The shield, since it's kind of not acting the way that it's supposed to, I'm assuming that it's the points that are dirty. So I take some 1000 grit and I hold it down like this, and then I just start sanding. And then we'll see if my shields work. Shields are good. The fire button is probably as good as I'm going to get unless I end up weakening the spring a little bit in it. Because it is reacting without that much touch, but it does, yeah, the shields are definitely better. So we're good to go there. Just so you can kind of see what I did here as far as putting this guy back on. I used 5-minute epoxy. I put these guys together after I cleaned it. And then on the edges, there were 2 holes that were already there from when they ended up doing the spot welding. And I just used those. I found a screw that fit inside there. Put the screw inside there, tightened it down, clamped this while the epoxy was drying. And on the rear of it, broke off the screw and filed it down so it's flat. And it works like a charm. Oh, here it is, cleaned up, ready to roll, everything working. I got it set on free play. I still have to put a different speaker in it, but that's fine because I know everything works. So let's go ahead and give this guy a test drive. Kind of sucks that you can only have 4 shots on the screen at once. What a communist. Fucking commie bastard. And this was built during the Cold War, so there's nothing wrong with me calling it a commie. One thing that I have found, I haven't played this in years, but is when you're dealing with games like Asteroids, a lot of times the best thing that you can do is get close to the objects. Because until those 4 disappear, those 4 shots disappear, you can't fire anymore. But if you're really close, the shot disappears. Right? Just like my ship disappeared. I'm fucking blowing goats on this right now. It's kind of like Missile Command, you know, where you can only have so many shots on the screen at once. What the fuck was that kind of shit? Anyway, we're good. Everything works.